fast-paced survival horror with a crocodile. But is it any good? The Pool is a 2019 survival horror thriller that just appeared on Shudder a couple weeks ago. In its premise, a man finds himself stuck about 25 feet deep in an empty pool. And that's where the danger, as well as the stakes, get higher and higher over time. Now, if you see the trailer or the poster, most of that centers on the fact that there's a crocodile in the pool with him that he shares the space with. And that is certainly the main thing that this character has to deal with. His name is Day. It is a Thai name. This is a Thai film. So Day, he has this huge shaggy dog as well, named Lucky, who's also leashed poolside. And also his girlfriend Koi, she is stuck there with him and she is injured. And that is the primary strength of this movie, the stakes. We have a dog here too. The Pool, it can be melodramatic and corny, a little cliche and tropey. There's always something that they're adding. I've only mentioned the beginning stakes pretty much. The other end of it is the danger. We have that crocodile within the enclosed space, but that is not the only danger to contend with. The pool layers on bits and bits. Day and Koi are trapped in this pool for a long period of time. This isn't the case where it's just a couple of hours. A formula that just comes into play is danger, stake, crisis averted, danger, stake, crisis averted. So for me, nothing drags in this at all. It's a tight 90 minutes and it doesn't feel like it was stretched out to 90 minutes. What's more likely the case, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2 hours and they smashed it down to 90 minutes. General pacing and snappiness in this is top tier. That is definitely the reason to watch this. A large intertwined flaw though would be a good portion of VFX, specifically the CGI crocodile. I would still put it above some sci-fi original films, definitely better than an Asylum production, but that's still nowhere near what the movie Crawl was able to accomplish. And that just came out recently and is hitting a lot of the streaming services and such as well. I think it's on Hulu. The filmmakers do make some good choices to try and mitigate some of the effects CGI stuff. There's some color similarities between parts of the crocodile and the pool. The pool has this dingy yellow colorness to it. And so does a fair amount of the crocodile. Like the top of the crocodile is going to be green, but like its belly and some of its underside is more of yellowish. It kind of melds in with the pool a little bit. That helps the crocodile blend in a little bit with its background because there's that thing where CGI is always popped out from its background a lot, and that's where it usually looks its worst. So that helps it look more consistent with its world. They didn't forget to put a shadow in. I have seen special effects that occasionally the shadowing looks really bad and doesn't, or it's just forgotten. The shadows are so-so in this. And I think they also used a tiny bit of like edge enhancement in the film to kind of make main characters in a frame or something pop out a little bit. You'll see that a lot built into TVs and such. And I do feel this film used it a little bit, which also makes the croc seem a little less odd since a lot of the main characters will pop a little bit from the background naturally. So it just makes the croc look a little bit less out of place in the world it's built. Where it looks its worst is when Day has to touch the croc, like actually like hold it, pick it up or something. So there are moments like that. That heavy interaction with the crocodile really breaks the illusion bad. There is a practical effect puppet croc too, I believe, probably two. That puppet would have zero movement, but did look really good. If it is fake, they did completely fool me there. And as an aside, I personally wondered if crocodiles were native to Thailand. I looked it up. They are technically native to Thailand, but they've been extinct for 75 years. So that little bit of knowledge may help you get a little bit more of that mindset of just how crazy this is that you're in there with a crocodile. Other practical effects are fine. There's some good body horror in this. Some other creature stuff. There's a guy in a dog suit for some of the effects. That looks better than it sounds, but it's still not going to fool anybody. It's a huge shaggy dog, very similar to a dog that's in the same house I'm in right now that I'll probably get a photo of. So it's passable. I'll get back to it in a moment. The general acting and writing are fine and very melodramatic. It has the current film trope of dropping you in much later in the story, you know, just like not really explaining anything going on, but then immediately tapering back to the beginning of the story. So you're like, oh, it's gonna, that's a crazy spot we're eventually gonna get to as the story unfolds. It's certainly well paced enough, before you do that type of trope, and I would prefer if that was just used less than films a lot nowadays anyway. There are some tropes and cliches in the way that they escalate things and some of the action stuff, so it's not like heaped full of originality. It could have been absolutely crazy intense. Like the movie Crawl, that can definitely be that way. But stuff does get piled on in more of a corny fashion. The effects really, they don't let you get yourself immersed in this world enough to completely lose yourself in the moment. That melodrama and camp always rise to the surface. There is a big flip side to this though. There is a big trigger warning as well. Animal harm is depicted pretty head on. Now, it's not like you're going to be fooled into thinking that an animal was actually harmed. It's pretty clear what is an effect or maybe a clever way to shoot or edit something. But the acts depicted just sometimes wouldn't be in an American film, because even a very fake depiction can be too much for a lot of people. But that stuff is nothing like Cannibal Holocaust, and if you wanted it to be, I'll judge you. Yeah, I will. The Pool is a fast-paced survival adventure. It has intensity, but it's undercut a little bit by the effects. It's super dramatic, like 90s John Woo, if you have that as a reference point. Oddly, the melodrama complements the effects in turning it into a bit campy, a campy fare. And in turn, that campiness can make the animal harm more palatable. So, I'm going to give The Pool 2 out of 4. It is exactly in the middle. If just the idea of animal harm is a hard line for you or close to it, this is an immediate pass. Or if your threshold for what you consider to be passable effects is on the very high end, you may not enjoy yourself. I suggest to give the trailer a watch to see. That gives you the perfect idea of what the effects are like. They're not trying to fool you by showing you a trailer where like this is the absolute best of the best moments. You're seeing exactly what you're going to get out of that trailer. If cool with all that, give it a go. It's really fun. The time flies by quick. I totally want to see some more from the creators. They were definitely showing some talent. We may have another review from Robert up soon, so it's not just my face all the darn time. I think I'm also going to get a Deathstroke review up, animated DC film, maybe even before this one. Hit a social media button. Leave a comment if you like Zeus, because I think I'm going to get a tiny bit of footage of the dog Zeus here. Don't let spoilers run your life. Peace.